Thank you very much. I really appreciate the opportunity from the great folks here at GeoAwesome, as well as the presenters currently on the line and presenting today. So my name is Antony Palizzi. I am the kind of head up the operations for LiveEO for the Americas. LiveEO is a market leader in satellite remote sensing, monitoring, and analytics. And our solutions provide actionable insights for operators and asset owners worldwide. We're based in Germany, but we have an office here in LiveEO, which is LiveEO Inc., which is what I'm responsible for. So with the assets, with these operations and these analytics and insights, we assist organizations to improve safety and reliability, sustainability, and basically increase their operational efficiencies and lowering costs. So that's a little bit about LiveEO. I've been in the business for a long time, probably 28, 29 years, not only in utilities, but also helping organizations with who have other assets globally. So doing this for quite a while. So again, I really appreciate the opportunity to be here today. So we heard a little bit from Patrick, and thank you, Patrick, for your presentation. A little bit about some of the remote sensing technologies being used at Hydro One and a variety of other utilities around the globe, whether it's satellite imagery, aerial imagery, LiDAR, drones, terrestrial. There's a lot of different remote sensing technologies that are available today and are being currently used by, again, utilities across the globe. But today I want to talk a little bit about satellite analytics and how we're assisting organizations to become more reliable, more safe, and increasing their efficiencies and decreasing costs. So a little bit about satellite space. I have been in it for quite a long time, but I think today, over the last 5 to 10 years or so, the amount of data availability and the amount of satellites in orbit today and moving forward is increasing at a very rapid rate. So with that, you have a multitude of different sources to access. But part of that challenge over the years has been we have all this data now. How do we process it? How do we use it? How do we create insights out of it? So with the evolution of cloud-based processing, the ability to provision this information to many places, kind of one-to-many, via your smartphone, via a tablet, via fill in the blank. That's also being able to be more available, and also the processing power, if you will, to do that. So you have a variety of different things that have all kind of over the years have equalized, and they're just kind of going at a decent space. So processing, being able to host this information, provision it, and then this ability to derive insights out of that and make it actionable are really kind of going at a pretty decent space. And LiveEO is fortunate enough to be in that space to provide this from a satellite perspective. So there's a big I don't know what you want to call it. I think we're all benefiting from that as we move forward and being able to find different types of use cases. So with utilities, we have lots of challenges, and Patrick mentioned some, and there are a lot. So you got climate change, you got regulatory, which was brought up in the previous conversation. You have the public, you have budgets, and those typically drive, in a lot of cases, the action that the utility will take in order to implement either new technology or new process going forward. So some of the drivers that are helping to kind of get this new utility management 2022 and beyond is reliability, service, safety, and sustainability. There are a variety of other drivers that are moving the utilities to make different investments, if you will, and implementing different types of technologies to meet the challenges that the utilities are facing today and in the future. So with all that data I mentioned earlier and all those satellites and different types of sensors, you have this challenge, if you will, to bring that amount of information to where it's actually actionable in order for you to prioritize, to view, to assess, to analyze, if you will, to help your organization. So LiveEO has developed a platform that's end-to-end, if you will, when it takes these satellite data in this particular case. So we have a variety of different providers and what I call the stable, if you will, that are doing what they do best, right? Collecting information, sometimes in some cases on a daily basis, the same spot everywhere on the earth, to being able to task in different ways, to be able to maintain a level of visibility on the globe, it's happening all the time. So being able to take that information through the APIs that we have built and basically harmonize that information so we can put it in our tech stack, and then based on business rules from the utility, i.e. the distance from the line, corridor monitoring, whether they want to determine vegetation health or species or whatever, being able to do that in an automated way and create a risk score, if you will, assessment, and prioritize that, and then provision it out either through existing applications that the utility may have, work order management system, veg management system, etc. And then either they have it, or we have a mobile app and a portal that we can utilize to connect to those, or the utility can use it as a standalone, and then provision that out to get to more of this condition-based maintenance. Get to a point where a utility is able to somewhat predict over time, not only growth rates, but where they may have potential issues that they need to take action on prior to, so more of a, again, a preemptive strike, if you will. So over the years, utilities have maintained and have put together what most people call a cycle-based approach. That cycle-based is typically in areas around their service territory where they do this particular area one year, this particular area the next year, et cetera. So by the time they get kind of all the way around, that could be anywhere from 3 years, and I've seen in certain cases 10 years, depending on where you are, get through that whole cycle. So this graph here is showing these peaks of when they actually do that. And they're doing it in a variety of different ways. They're using LiDAR, they're using feet on the ground, they're using a variety of different technologies, different approaches. But what happens in the middle here, right? I do something, right? I analyze and I go and I mitigate, and then I wait a little while and I analyze and mitigate. So I'm just kind of doing this over a period of time. But in those gaps, a lot is happening. You know, trees don't stop growing, storms don't stop happening, unfortunately. Regulations change, all kinds of things are happening. So there's this lack of visibility that is in here. So what we're trying to do with the technologies that we have and combining it with other remote sensing technologies is come up with a way that helps not only identify risks like fall-ins or cycle busters or major events like storms, but lead to more of a planned activity so you can move forward. So what we do from a satellite perspective, what's great about it is these little guys are swinging around the earth and taking pictures all the time. So we can define where we need to concentrate that with the utility and gets visibility. So basically we're monitoring this, and I think it was mentioned earlier, more of what people would classify as situational awareness, knowing what's going on at any one point in time. And that frequency today is so much easier today using satellites than it has been over the years, but being able to take advantage of that. So again, you know, we've come up with an approach. We call it kind of 1, 2, 3, kind of try to keep it simple, but really enabling the organizations to get to more of a condition-based, and then the next step would be more predictive. So you can take out certain aspects of the analytics like tree health and tree species, and over a period of time with other data availability, you can come up with growth rates and those kind of things and predict where you may have problems on your network. So this ability to be more safe, get greater efficiency, sustainability, and some cost reduction by maintaining a level of visibility over a period of time. So again, this lineup, get visibility, you know, kind of these frequent updates, being able to not only know the location, but the height and different information about what is not only in and around your corridor, but outside your corridor. It's we see a lot of organizations want to look on their whole service territory, whether it's for sustainability, for canopy health, whether it's to look at potential areas that may cause some sort of an event like fire, for example. That may happen way over here, but your utility line may be over here. So what are the aspects or the possibility of that moving in a direction, if you will, if something does happen to affect the asset? So again, understanding that from that visibility, you can understand and customize these risk models and prioritize it to where you can go where you need to go. Provision that out through work orders, and then be kind of more of this efficient ecological action. So you're not just doing, in some cases, just cutting trees down just to cut them down, but be more precise about whether you need to do that or not based on the information that you're attaining, what you're analyzing. And then get that information out into task assignments to subcontractors, both internally or externally, through different applications, whether it's through Esri or other work order management systems or veg management systems, or ones that are provided by LiveEO. So this visibility is really getting to the point where we can help organizations automate this. So getting a base map is really important, understanding where your assets are. So on transmission, in most cases, the transmission lines, they're pretty well established, if you will, when it comes to geospatial location. Distribution, that's a whole different story. So most of the time, I would say probably 9 times out of 10, the assets are not actually in the location from the source data to where they really are on the ground. So there is a very important step that needs to happen before you analyze something, is make sure it's in the right place geospatially on Earth. So that's really important. So getting a base map, kind of a an as is right now, where are we, a baseline, if you will, before you start going down this journey, if you will. Very important. So being able to do that, so then you can identify those risks. You can basically plan your inspections, if you will. You can, from those inspections and planning, you can estimate overall budgets and timelines and schedules and resources, etc. And basically to communicate that in a way, not only internally, but externally, to assist not only the folks that you're currently working with, regulators, but also your ratepayers. So step 2 is really kind of understanding that. Once you know where things are, ability to understand that. You can customize these risk scores. Again, a lot of risk scores could be in place, right, in order for you to be more efficient, but prioritizing those as well. So then you can basically enable this ability to schedule these inspections and actions, right, whatever it is. You can, in a lot of cases, you can prevent these outages, and if there's a catastrophe, if you will, that's coming up like a storm, you can already identify this, preemptively, right? And then communicate this out in a very timely fashion to your constituents and your regulators. Questions come up a lot of times, especially on transmission, where utility may say, well, if I know about all my risks, they have to do something about it. Yeah, that's true, especially on the transmission side. But I think in most cases, it's better to know than not to know, at least in my opinion. But there are ways to communicate that through analytics and through data, and being able to precisely identify where these risks are, but more importantly, what you're going to do about them and how you're going to do about it. So when you're having these conversations with regulators or your ratepayers or whoever, you're better equipped to have data that is accurate, that is comprehensive, that is actionable. So, it's not just, hey, we got these problems. It's like, hey, we have this problem. It's here. We know how to mitigate it. Here's how we're going to do it. Here's how we're going to keep it potentially from happening again, right? So kind of that whole story, and this is to help you able to do that over a period of time. So again, the next is being kind of a, taking more of an efficient and in a lot of cases, this ecological approach, right? So you have this ability to organize your work. You can manage your subcontractors or your tree your folks that are currently doing it internally and externally in a way, again, where they're going where they need to do. You can implement ecological right-of-way practices, which there are a lot out there, and there's some that are becoming more and more, kind of up on the target list within utilities and other asset owners when it comes to sustainability requirements. And again, like Practic says, we love the trees, but sometimes trees need to be need to be mitigated because of reliability issues and the rules and regulations. But now you're being more precise, if you will, and how you do that. And then accessing this information via desktop application or a mobile application. And then ultimately, over time, as you go down this journey, because this isn't a one-time shot by any means, and satellite's not a one-time silver bullet, you got to combine it with other modalities like Patrick had talked about earlier, is you got to make sure that this is comprehensive. This helps you get to that point. So various types of features or solutions that we can provide and through the analytics is encroachment identification. So being able to see where your line is, make sure it's in the right place, analyze it from a satellite perspective and in an automated fashion, determine where the encroachments are. Where do you have potential fall-ins and where you have identification of dead and dying trees from species analysis and where those are, and then based on your risk scores, automatically create a priority list of where you need to go first. And you can take that list, you can look at it in those tasks, and then you can sign them out. The other thing is remote auditing. There's this ability to, with satellite, is not only looking at pre and post, whether that's pre and post cutting activity, pre and post event, whether that is a storm, knowing where things are first, knowing what the condition and where the potentiality of threats are prior and post, and then going afterwards and saying, hey, here's where we need to go in a kind of a safe and quick and automated way. So the ability, again, to provision that out through a mobile application. We have one, it integrates, like I said earlier, with other applications that you may have, looking at a utility that may currently have an investment. It's not to replace that, it's more to enhance it. So alerts, work orders, automate this activity in a way to where if I'm on a mobile device, which is occasionally connected, I can get my work, I can go out and do it, I can see where the activity needs to happen, what type of activity it is, I can put in information about what I did, take pictures, etc. All that stuff. So again, you're really increasing this level of visibility and turning those into these actionable activities that are going to help you in the short and long run. So this is just a quick example. We've got many examples of how we're assisting organizations today. But just if you look at the overall, thinking about kind of the asset management model, it's very similar, right? You have a little bit of increase in investment, and then over time, as you implement these things, you're going to see that return. And then as that return keeps going on, you go down and you have a little spike because you may need to do a reevaluation. So you iterate over periods of time. I've been involved in my life doing this types of thing for many different utilities around the world, and have seen a variety of different return on value, return on investment, depending on how the utility implements it. What's their long-term, short, medium, long-term strategy for vegetation management, for example? All kind of depends on where the utility is at the beginning. What's its current state? There are some that are very, very good at having their locations in the right place. There's some that are not. So you need to kind of move that before you start down this road, for example, because that may take a little bit of an investment. But there are a lot of ways today versus 20 years ago or 10 years ago that are a lot more efficient, a lot more cost effective to kind of get to where you need to be. So really it's about these actionable insights. It's about safety and reliability, which is the core, right? We're there to help the utility maintain and enhance and increase that safety and reliability on their network and for the people that are a recipient of what the utility is doing. Improve your ROI and your ROV. and reduce costs. Now, it's so much reducing costs as well as being able to repurpose those cost savings from going from that cycle base to condition and compressing, if you will, the activities that you're doing within that year. So going from a 5-year cycle for your whole network to a 3-year cycle to a 2-year cycle to doing it every year. So being able to repurpose and those resources that you're saving in order to do more work over a period of time. And then again, the sustainability, this digital model, if you will, that folks talk about. It's easier to plan these things, obviously, in office as opposed to out there, but making sure that what you currently have is valuable to what you're doing out in the field. So again, the sustainability as well as reducing your OPEX and your CO2, increasing your network time and safety and reliability. So this journey again, discover, evaluate, and implement, right? That 1, 2, 3, right? Visibility, being able to take action and implement that over a period of time is really kind of the mantra, if you will, that we're trying to assist and help organizations in the utility space get to. So appreciate the opportunity to be here today. I'd be happy to take any questions that you may all have. I'll put information in here about how to get a hold of me. It's on here as well. So if I don't get to all your questions, I'll be happy to answer them later.